Who here is ready for an archaeological dig? I know I am.
Oh my god.
So much polygons.
You can count the triangles.
It went from 2D to 3D.
Oh, man.
And then it went back to 2D.
Okay, we joke, but this game was, like, if not the earliest, then one of the earliest instances of a game with three-dimensional character models. I think there had been, before this point, three-dimensional environments, but only three-dimensional environments with sprite characters, you know?
What year did this come out?
This was 92.
92, Jesus.
It also depends on how much you want to count vector graphics.
Well, because 3D graphics have been a thing, and I'm not talking just strictly vector, but like full three-dimensional things have been a thing since the late 80s.
Yeah, that's why I bring up on how much you want to count vector graphics.
Yeah, so that's why I'm saying, like, this is one of the earliest examples of a game where the characters were three-dimensional.
Are like full three-dimensional.
Three-dimensional and animated, yes. Games.
You say that as we're looking at still images.
Yeah, this is what the game passes for a demo. It's more of just a slideshow of screenshots. But, yeah, that's what your gun looks like up close, just in case you were wondering. You're never going to see it that close up during the game, of course, but, now you know. Anyway, a lot of people credit Alone in the Dark with being the first survival horror game. Not technically true, but only because Resident Evil kind of coined the term. They're very much the same kind of game. Resident Evil just has more of an action bent.
Well, that's why they say this one's the first one, because it technically is.
Yeah. It's
and that right there is about the only thing I know this game is good for, because I never played Alone in the Dark, but I do remember pimp slapping rats.
Yeah, the thing about Alone in the Dark is that it's very, very old, and I mean that functionally. Anyway, we have two playable characters. We have Edward Carnby, the protagonist of the series, and the character that I'm playing as, because I'm that guy. This is Emily Hartwood, who actually has a personal stake in the story, unlike Edward. So I kind of prefer her from a narrative standpoint in this case.
I feel like I'm in orientation for a retail job with this voice acting.
The Resident Evil similarities continue with terrible voice acting.
No, the voice acting is fine. It's the audio quality that's terrible.
Yeah, the audio quality is abysmal. But, that was the time.
So. The voice acting is fine. It's not great. It's passable. Like, I could imagine a high school drama club out in the boonies producing this kind of voice acting. I specifically say out in the boonies because I've been to high school. I've been to high school stage plays, and they can be really, really good if the school in question has the budget for it. But in any case, Emily Hartwood here is the niece or something of the person who owns the Derceto mansion. The setting for Alone in the Dark, really strange setting for the first survival horror game in the genre. The country of Louisiana, the country areas of Louisiana. Yeah, you thought Resident Evil 7 was unique when it pulled out that setting. No, it was Alone in the Dark that did it first.
Alone in the Dark is a pretty basic, just haunted house kind of story, though, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's a haunted house kind of story with shades of Lovecraft going on, and they're not even trying to hide it. They actually credit H.P. Lovecraft as a major influence on the box, even.
I should actually read some Lovecraft at some point, and then I'll know what everybody's talking about.
Well, you can get that for free on Kindle if you want.
Oh yeah, it's public domain, so you can. I could even get I've seen relatively nice looking collection books that go for like $10 at Barnes and Noble.
Even if you get the Kindle version, my recommendation is to spring for one of the editions that costs a couple dollars, because you can usually count on there being some decent professional formatting if you're paying for it.
I prefer reading in a book when I can. Like if I've got a college class or something and they want me to pay $30 for the book, then I'll get the e-version that's like $5. But if I'm reading for pleasure or whatever, and the choice is between a $3 version and a $5 version that's physical, I'll pay the $5.
Anyway, we sort of talked over it there, but Emily Hartwood is, I think, like the only one who gets a direct clue in her introduction voiceover about what you're supposed to do in the first room of the game, which amuses me because Edward Carnby, if you're playing as him, you kind of just have to figure it out on your own. Oh, Jesus Christ! I forgot.
Wait,
I forgot it did
that. Run over that frog.
Yeah.
Oh, no, turn around and go back to the better game. You can play some Frogger.
Don't remind me about Roadkill, okay? Just the other day, a squirrel jumped out of nowhere right in front of my car, and I feel so bad.
And before it happened, did you get like a split-second image of a realistic photorealistic squirrel on your face?
It scared me enough.
Because what the fuck was that close-up of the frog?
Anyway, yeah, this is the Derceto mansion, and it's not quite Spencer Estate levels of huge. It's actually like I've seen houses of this size in my general area. So it's kind of relatable in that sense. The layout isn't too far from what you would expect a house to have in it.
What's wrong with your face?
She looks like, honestly, she looks like a living, moving, beloved doll. I'm not gonna lie.
Man, you know, no matter which character you pick, the face is the most beautiful thing.
So here's the thing. I know that this game basically, in terms of its environment, seems to do the same thing Resident Evil did, where instead of it being a pre-rendered picture, it's a sprite picture of whatever part of the room, and you move a 3D model around it.
It is one of the first games to use polygonal characters on pre-rendered backgrounds.
Yeah, although the pre-rendered backgrounds in this case are very obviously, very obviously like hand-drawn sort of pixel art kind of things, I think.
Yeah, I kind of like how throughout its course of time, the game is now scary for a different reason.
Are you playing right now, or is this a cutscene?
Okay, this bothers me. In the opening cutscene, you walk straight over a collapsing floor that instantly kills you if you walk over it during gameplay. It's like,
cutscene powers activate.
Maybe they didn't have enough money for a cutscene to establish that the floor was buckling.
Well, you can see, looking at the floor, there are seams there where it will break.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's more clearly colored, which means that the animation's going to interact with it. It's
yeah.
Oh no, don't get me started on like old animation where it's like we have this really detailed background and then this one low res boulder that's clearly going to explode or something.
Okay, forgive me the awkward fumbling here because I had to get used to the controls again and it had been a while since I played it. Anyway, the first thing that you're supposed to do when you start this game is push the cabinet in front of the window and then push the trunk over the trapdoor on the floor. It operates on a timer. It is not random, but there are two monsters that will jump through the window and the trapdoor if you faff around in here too long.
I'm guessing that this is a screw you. You have to play the game more than once to figure out that kind of thing. If you're playing it the first time.
Yeah, although Emily does get a clue, as I said, she makes a remark in her intro voiceover that her uncle was trying to block the loft window with a wardrobe. So you kind of get the idea that maybe you should do that yourself.
So now that you've blocked both the window and the trap door, if you wait long enough, will you hear someone go?
Anyway, yeah. I got a rifle, which kind of looks more like a shotgun.
I got a shotgun.
I can see someone moving outside the window.
Anyway, Emily also gets a direct clue about the piano that you're supposed to take a look at.
Do we play Moonlight Sonata?
I think Edward Carnby is a private investigator who was sent here to specifically investigate the piano or something. I forget. So you would look around the piano anyway. But yeah, you're supposed to search the side of the piano and find a letter inside. And the letter.
Play Moonlight Sonata. It'll open the doorway.
No, unfortunately, the piano doesn't. Nothing.
What happens if you play chopsticks?
Say if you didn't bar the window or the trapdoor, what kind of monsters are we dealing with?
I think the monster that comes through the window is one of those hopping two-legged chicken wolf things. I have no idea what those are, and the graphics are too primitive to tell.
Sounds delicious.
The monster that comes up through the trapdoor is a zombie. It sort of hovers up with its arms in front of it, like it's being pulled up on strings. So
now, is Alone in the Dark one of those games where it's just best not to fight monsters?
Most of the time, you can fight, and there are times when you need to fight, but there are also times when you can't fight, and there are times when you can fight, but you probably shouldn't. It's not a very long game. Oh yeah, and your inventory just sort of holds on to everything that you pick unless you deliberately drop it on the floor. Unlike Resident Evil, which has item boxes.
So you can only hold on to like 5 things at a time, I'm guessing?
No, you can hold on to as much as you want. There's an invisible weight counter, though. So the heavier objects take up more space, quote unquote. So you probably don't want to hold on to books and jugs and big things like that.
So it's standard Elder Scrolls things where you can run around perfectly fine at 299.9 pounds, but the second you pick up 1 ounce feather, you're suddenly encumbered.
Well, you just won't be able to pick up anything else when you're encumbered. But yeah. Anyway, this might seem like a random-ass thing to be reading, and you're right, it is, but it's actually a clue for how to get downstairs. There are 2 demons guarding the staircase that we came up on our way in here.
Ooh, is it a fetch quest puzzle? Is it a fetch quest puzzle?
Yeah, it is. But the solution is to find these 2 mirrors in one of the rooms and stick 1 mirror on each of the statues.
It is a Resident Evil puzzle.
Yeah, stick 1 mirror on each of the statues outside, and the mirrors will kill the demons.
Don't you mean that Resident Evil uses Alone in the Dark puzzles, Ryan?
True.
Although some of the puzzles in Alone in the Dark are a bit more obtuse than Resident Evil. And
Evil, that's saying something.
Well, in Resident Evil, it's usually telegraphed when there's a key item needed for a specific thing. It's usually some specially shaped item that goes into a specially shaped slot. In Alone in the Dark, it's more like there's this magic painting that throws axes at you if you try to go down a certain hallway. How do you get past it? Well, you take that old Indian cover you found in the wardrobe upstairs and cover the painting with it.
But then why doesn't the painting shoot axes at you when you're trying to cover it?
Because it can't see you anymore, so it doesn't know when you're going down the hallway.
Can't you just take the painting down?
And then, in the same hallway, there's another painting on the opposite on the opposite end of the hallway that shoots arrows at you when you try to get close. How do you beat it? You pull out your own bow and arrow and you shoot back.
What?
I would have just taken out my mirror shield and then just walked sideways.
You have to cleverly intercept every arrow.
Also, pick up the goddamn lamp. I cannot emphasize how important it is to pick up the goddamn lamp.
Is this one of those adventure games things where you hang on to this random item until the very end and it isn't useful until just then?
No, the lamp is mandatory for dark areas. There are areas that go completely pitch black if you don't have the lamp. You need to find...
The game's called Alone in the Dark, though! Why am I playing if I can't be alone in the dark?
Also, apparently it needs oil, so we need to go find the shop for some lamp oil rope.
Yeah, I was going to say that. Yeah, you do need oil for the lamp. You also need something to light the lamp with. There are 2 boxes of matches. At least I think there are 2. There might be a third one that I don't know about. Anyway, yeah, there's a bow.
You know what, though? As much as we might look back and criticize how ancient this game looks, it does make it pretty obvious what you can interact with or what you can probably pick up.
It's the animation thing I brought up earlier.
To a certain point, to a certain extent, but there are also drawers and cabinets that you can interact with that aren't obvious but might have things inside them.
Lady, why did you put it on the floor instead of on the convenient shelves right next to you?
Also, yeah, containers. If there's a can of oil or a first aid drink, that kind of thing, you use it, and then the container itself becomes an empty item in your inventory. The only thing that you can do with it is either put it down on the floor or throw it.
Notice how the brownie is pre-rendered and therefore unattainable.
I also like her boobs are just a textured line on her chest.
Alright, okay. The texture is not her cleavage, it's her shirt. This is in the 1920s. Because, 1920s.
I don't know. I thought you were going to just type in LOL.
Game over.
Holy fuck. I didn't realize falling through the pit was a summoning ritual to summon Cthulhu.
Okay, yeah, it is. Basically, what happens when you die is your body gets dragged to the final boss room and laid on this altar and becomes a sacrificial offering for the demon Cthulhu tree, which is a pirate's ghost, which became immortal and it was trapped down here.
So wait, the tree is a pirate?
Basically, the final boss wants to use your body as his vessel. He would have used Jeremy Hartwood, but Jeremy Hartwood got wise to it and committed suicide before he had a chance.
But wait, I thought. But if you die, then they can still use. But he's dead, so why couldn't they use his dead body?
I don't know, but
maybe the fall doesn't kill you per se, but it disables.
Yeah, but getting eaten by a demon monster doesn't kill you either.
Why would the demon want to go in a disabled body anyway? It's like it appears. Finally, everybody. Oh, my legs are friggin' broken.
Anyway, this sword is interesting in the sense that it is both a weapon and a key item. So
they actually let you use it! Oh my god! You don't know how annoying it is in games where it's like, oh, you picked up the sword of super duper power, but it's just a key item and you can't use it.
I'm not finished yet. Okay, the sword that we just picked up is a weapon, but it's not very durable. There is another sword later in the game.
You fight like a dairy farmer.
There is yeah, you do. There is another sword later in the game that does not break when you use it, but the old cavalry saber is both a weapon and a key item. If you use it as a weapon, it will break and become 2 key items in your inventory. Keep both pieces because you need to use the sword to open your way to the final area.
Chair.
Oh, for fuck's sake! Static cling, my god.
Chair.
Anyway, yeah, Alone in the Dark is kind of like Silent Hill, Silent Hill is kind of like Alone in the Dark, in that, yes, there are guns, but you kind of want to save all the ammo that you can, so rely on melee whenever possible.
Does the bow and arrow need arrows in order to shoot?
Yes, and there's a very limited number of them, so don't bother using them as a weapon, trust me.
Okay.
And yeah, you can hide behind the cabinet and this guy won't see you, although you're not going to get away without killing this guy.
Is anyone in here? No? Okay, bye.
Nobody here but us dresses.
The chair move.
When I say rely on melee, though, I don't necessarily mean a sword. You can punch and kick in this game.
Watch out, I be the sword master.
Hey, I mean, you can still stab that.
Yeah, you can still use the broken hilt of the sword. There are also knife items that operate in pretty much the same way. But yeah, keep the saber blade and broken saber. You're going to need them.
Can you accidentally get rid of them?
You can put them on the floor. You can drop any item anywhere on the floor. Resident Evil didn't use this mechanic because of memory limitations.
Well, until 0.
Until 0, yeah, but it was a memory limitation thing that they went for the item box system. So if you discard an item, you can always get it back, but you might not necessarily remember where you put it, so be careful about that.
You look like one of those characters that went into the room and forgot the reason why they went in there in the first place.
Yeah, pretty much. Anyway, this is another obtuse puzzle. You see the vase we just picked up? What are you supposed to do with the vase? Try and guess.
Put some flowers in it.
Is that a Wolverine that just jumped through?
Yeah, this is the two-legged chicken wolf thing.
Oh, so this is the thing that'll bust through the window you were talking about earlier.
Yeah. Aiming with the gun is a bit awkward because depth perception is a pain in the ass in this
Consider
game.
the angle you're trying to aim at.
Yeah, so sometimes you can fire off a gunshot and it looks like you should hit, but you don't. So, yeah. Anyway, I'm out of ammo already. Fuck me. Anyway, guess what you're supposed to do with the vase? Throw it and break it. Leave the broken vase where it is and just pick up the key that was inside it.
Oh, okay.
Why can't I reach into the vase?
Yeah, the broken vase is an item that you can pick up, but it's useless, so don't bother.
Can I throw the broken vase at anything?
I require a vase to pass. A broken vase.
Basically, anything that is a used-up container is an item that you don't need. I think there is a jug later on that you find that is already empty that you're supposed to use to fill with water and put out this cigar of death in that one room downstairs.
Do you know what else can carry water? A vase.
Not when it's broken. But I actually don't find the jug, so I just sort of book it through the room with the cigar of death in it and don't ever put it out.
I just like how you get the idea to break the vase instead of just turning it upside down. So anything falls
You have to throw it, John.
It's like those people that smash their piggy banks open. It's like, just unload, just open the bottom.
How rich are you people that you can buy a new piggy bank every time you wanna? Like what they. Oh, okay. I look away from the screen for a second. I hear what I think is an elephant, and no, it's a harpy. All right.
Yeah, it's the demons. You put both mirrors in, and they both spontaneously combust. Anyway, what I was gonna say, I think the piggy bank thing is because like really old school piggy banks didn't have the opening on the bottom. The idea of them was you were supposed to put money in them and not be able to take it out until you broke the piggy bank, and that would basically force you to save money. You know. So some people just break the piggy bank open out of a sense of tradition, I guess.
I suppose it's also more fun to break stuff. Which...
That too. Yeah, first aid case. The health system in this game is a bit weird. You start out with 20 points, but like a game of Magic the Gathering, you can go over your limit. You can go as high over your limit as you frickin' want.
It's not E flask, it's A flask.
So you can use a first aid kit when you're not hurt to gain more health.
God, I need a fucking drink.
That.
You only have A flask. You cannot get E flask.
Okay, patch me up, doctor, but you're totally fine. You don't understand. I want to be wrapped with 20 bandages right now. Do it. I'm paying you.
Well, you got a real good throwing arm there.
Anyway, the first aid cases are slightly annoying because there's a first aid box, and when you use the first aid box, you get a flask, and when you use the flask, you heal, but that leaves you with an empty flask and an empty box in your inventory, so you have to put both items down on the floor to get rid of them.
Come on. Just get rid of the fucking box.
Old PC games are great. And they would get more obtuse from this point out, too.
It's like, imagine using the eggs from Resident Evil, but after consuming them, you got eggshells.
Oh, hey, look, it's a new sword. It's a much better sword than the one we had before. If we get that sword, we can melee without our weapon breaking.
So you can save the game at any time.
Yeah,
you're expected to because it's an old PC adventure game. If you weren't okay. Although, to be fair, that also might be able to get you into an unwinnable game situation, now that I think it.
Yeah, it can, so make sure you make use of the multiple saves. PC games, by the way, always let you frickin' do that. They always let you save wherever the hell you want. It's only console games that started that. You need save points, or you need a memory card and a password, or whatever.
It was due to memory limitations, I'm assuming, but yeah.
Yeah.